We begin this week with our focus on Nancy Pelosi and new pressure on her today and other members of Congress when it comes to allegations of insider trading. Reports say that she and her husband have raked in millions of dollars from big tech stocks. This also came up a few weeks ago when AOC talked about banning members of Congress from owning individual stocks. So she was talking about it then. And also just before Christmas, Speaker Pelosi said this, quote, "We're a free market economy and members of Congress, quote, should be able to participate in that." Well, now, Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff is joining in with AOC in the call to ban members of Congress from owning individual stocks. Ossoff wants to introduce an ethics bill that would prevent lawmakers and their family members from trading in stocks while in office. In 2012, President Obama signed that law, the Stock Act, from prohibiting members of Congress from trading on non-public information, but there still seem to be some loopholes. Let's check in now with congressional correspondent Kilmeny Ducart with more on this. And Kilmeny, great to talk to you. What is really the motivation for this now with Jon Ossoff? Is it just Nancy Pelosi?
Good to be with you, John. Let's look back at last year. The Senate introduced legislation on this. The House had a version of it, but the bill that Ossoff is proposing would actually go a step further, extending not just the ban on trading to elected officials, but also to their families. As you mentioned, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and her husband, Paul, have various investments worth an estimated $30 million. Over the years, his venture capital and investment firm has invested in big tech, including Apple, Amazon, and Google. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, in a press conference, was asked about this last month to respond to an insider investigation revealing that more than 50 congressional lawmakers, as well as more than 100 congressional staff, had violated these insider trading laws. And she also asked if she supported a ban on trading with elected officials and their spouses. Here's what she had to say.
No to the second one. We have a responsibility to report in the stock, on the stock, but I'm not familiar with that 5-month review, but if people aren't reporting, they should be. Yeah. Because this is a free market and we're a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that.
Well, not only would Ossoff's bill ban trades, but lawmakers would actually have to place their assets in a blind trust. He is one of 10 lawmakers that currently do that out of 535. That would close the loophole on that 2012 legislation that you mentioned. The congressional lawmakers have reportedly violated, particularly with suspicious trades during the pandemic, with many not reporting at all. And that's perhaps the answer, John, to your first question of why this has picked up some momentum. But also, when you look at the Republicans in the Senate that support it, there haven't been really many vocal opponents of that, but there has been a lot of support from House Republicans. In July, there was legislation introduced that was co-authored by Texas Congressman Chip Roy that would also require lawmakers to put their investments in a blind trust. I spoke with him today, and he told me, as Speaker Pelosi's recent transactions make clear, decisions made for the people should be separate than decisions made for personal enrichment. We should be having a reasonable debate about the conflicts of interest that arise or are perceived to arise from trading stocks while making policy decisions. Contrary to what some other members say, putting assets in a blind trust or broadly traded mutual funds doesn't prohibit that. As you mentioned, though, on the Democratic side, there has been very vocal opponents of trading among lawmakers. That's been Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren. On the Republican side, though, you do have Chip Roy and you also have Michael Cloud. But in order for Ossoff to get this off the ground, he is looking for a Republican co-sponsor in the Senate, and that could also be a challenge there. John.
Yeah, especially during an election year. Kilmeny Ducart for us.